Okay, so a very great evening to you. Thank you so very much for joining us again on another exciting Upgrade Mastery just for you with Mr. Upgrade. How are you doing? How was your week? What did you do this week? What were the learnings that you got this week? And please feel free to share with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Let's get a lot of people to join the conversation today. And I want to appreciate all of you who are regularly here with us every Fridays. You are amazing. You are the reason why we get to do this every time. And we're glad to always have you here with us. So, how are you doing? What's up? What's up with you? How are you doing? How was your week? What did you do this week? What were the challenges that you faced? What were the new opportunities that came your way? How are you doing? Let's talk about you. How are you doing? Tell me. How are you doing? I like to know how you're doing. So, before we begin, how are you doing? This is the Upgrade Mastery just for you. I know on every Fridays we get to just let down our hair, just share how the week has been. In one word, how would you rate your week, or what would you say your week was? Like in one word, how would you rate your week? In one word, tell me what is your week like? Right? I want to know what has your week been like in one word? If you could rate your week in one word, what will you say it has been like? Right? What would you say it has been like for you this week? Would you say it has been engaging? It has been stressful? It has been there? What would you say your week has been in one word? I like to know, right? Feel free to share with your friends, your families, loved ones, even enemies, right? So that they can be here. So they can be here. You just never know what you will be doing for them when you get them to be on the conversation. So let them know so that they can join in and so we can have an amazing time together, right? It's always fun when we do this together. Okay, so now being said, oh, one word. Someone says amazing. Yes, thank you so much for that. Sunshine, amazing. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So how's your week? Those of you who have amazing week like that of sunshine. Amazing, amazing. Yes, in one word, how's your week been? In one word. Like, okay, my week has been great. My week has been interesting. What things did you do this week? Did you look back and say, yes, that was something amazing. This week was great. I had certain trainings I had to be part of, right? Going back into class, learning. Quite an amazing week for me. And also coordinating some things, even though I was not in the same space, but I was coordinating some things online. And it was just amazing. I had an amazing week, met some new contacts, met some new people, got exposed to some new ideas. And I'm just like, wow, this really is interesting, right? There's so much learning that's taking place, and it's just fun to be part of that process and that whole journey. But that was my week. How was your week? All right. So for me, my week, I would say my week was eye opening, right? Because I got to be part of something that had been in my mind for a while, and the opportunity for it just came. And like they say, one opportunity means preparation. The rest is history. So that was something that I'm excited about, and I'm looking forward to even the amazing things that will come out from that opportunity, right? Because that's the goal to get more things from that opportunity, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so without wasting more time anymore, it's an amazing conversation that we're going to have today. For those of you who were here last week we talked about do not be sentimental, right? Do not be sentimental. And we really enjoyed that conversation because there were a lot of talking points we needed to look at so that we stop being sentimental. And we're able to arrive at some conclusions why we should no longer be sentimental. So in case you missed that conversation last week, this is the good time for you to go look it up and then get yourself acquainted with the gist. right? That's that for last week. Now for this week, there's something we're going to talk about, and it's something very, very important, right? We're able to coin it and we say it is about feedback and why feedback is key, right? That's our conversation for today. Why feedback is key. Now, if I may ask, how many of you have ever received feedback? Now, by feedback, that is someone telling you something about yourself or what you do, right? Feedback is more about learning more about yourself, right? Giving you an opinion or a perspective about whatever it is that you're doing, right? And it's important that we learn to take feedback. And guess what? One of the things that we don't like at all as humans is feedback, because feedback would bring your knowledge to something that you probably are not getting right. It will bring to your awareness some things you need to fix, some things that you need to change, right? That's what feedback would do. And guess what? Many people don't like feedback. They rather just keep doing what they're doing, and they don't want to be assessed or corrected, because sometimes feedback will give you correction. You know, something scripture says that's very key to this conversation. It says, all scripture is by the inspiration of God and is profitable for rebuke, for instruction, for correction, that the man of God will be thoroughly furnished unto every good work, which means even the scripture can help you to see feedback about yourself and see areas where you are falling short about yourself. So this is why this conversation on feedback is very, very key. You cannot play it down. You cannot avoid it. You cannot make it look like it's irrelevant. It's not. That's why we say feedback is key, right? If ever you're going to be better at anything that you do, then you must get comfortable receiving feedback. Now, as much as you do not like to receive feedback, you actually need the feedback. Now, before I get into this just properly, there's some things I really want to share as we begin, as we're laying this foundation, right? Three key things about feedback that you need to realize and appreciate. Number one is that feedback helps to reveal your blind spot. Now, if ever you have studied the Johari window, you realize that the second part of the Johari window is what is called the blind spot. Is an area about you that everybody sees, but only you just can't see it. Are you getting this? The blind spot is an area about you that everybody sees. It's obvious and visible to everybody else, but only you don't see it. Let's say, for instance, you may be someone who always talk at the top of your voice. So your voice is always loud. And people try to tell you, you're always loud, you're shouting. And you say, no, that's just how I talk. But they're telling you you're shouting. You say, no. Why? Because you cannot hear how you sound to people. So you feel it's okay. The people who hear it are giving you feedback about a blind spot and you are arguing. Is this beginning to make sense now? So the truth is this: one of the things that feedback does for you is that it helps to reveal your blind spot, the area about you that everybody else can see, everybody else can know, but only you don't see and know. That's why it's called a blind spot. You don't see it, you don't know it, but it is there. And it's not just there, it's visible and evident to others because they can see it and they can hear it and they can feel it, but you can't. So feedback helps you to get that information from them and see how you can apply it to yourself to now start to make some changes, because that's what everyone else see, but only you don't see it. Are you understanding this? So, a very important thing about feedback is that it helps to reveal your blind spots. Somebody can tell you, "Oh, you're always frowning." I say, "No, I'm not frowning. It's just how my face is." Well, because you can't see your face and you don't walk with a mirror everywhere you go, you probably will not see that you're frowning. But someone who's always seeing you, you say, "This person is always frowning. This person never smiles. This person is always frowning." That's feedback. So you should take it in good faith and work on yourself. Because that fact that you don't smile is a blind spot that you don't even see. But feedback reveals it to you. Right? Another thing about feedback that you need to pay attention to is the fact that with feedback, many times there is conscious resistance. So when someone is telling you something about your blind spot that you can't see, the first thing you want to do is to resist it and say, "No, that's not true." Have you ever caught yourself arguing with people and say, "No, that's a lie, that's not true"? That's you having conscious resistance towards feedback. It's feedback. Don't resist it. Accept it. It's feedback. But no, you're going to resist. You're going to be consciously resistant to it, because that's what happens to feedback. You give conscious resistance. That's why you see that many times when people want to give feedback, they look for ways to bypass your conscious resistance. Is this possible? I'll tell you. Remember in 2 Samuel 12, when Prophet Nathan came to tell David that he had killed Uriah to marry Bathsheba. Now, if he had come like that to say to David, perhaps David would have instructed that Prophet Nathan be killed. He was the king, he could do and undo. But Prophet Nathan came to give him this feedback and said, "There are two men in your kingdom. One is very rich, living large, living la vida loca, is doing everything. He has everything. And then there's another one, the second person in the kingdom, who has just one sheep and is just managing with his family." And then he said, "This rich guy had a visitor. And then he went to take the one sheep from this other guy and killed it and prepared it for his visitor." And David was angry. David was boiling. David was like, "In my kingdom, somebody like that person will see today." While he was still in that rage and anger, Nathan said, "You, O king, you are that man. Because you had all the women in Israel, yet you killed Uriah to take Bathsheba." What Prophet Nathan was able to do was to give David feedback, but to bypass conscious resistance. Because many times when it comes to taking feedback, people always have conscious resistance. That's why when someone is trying to tell you something about you that they've observed, you are quick to argue. You are quick to say it's a lie. You are quick to react. You are quick to defend yourself. That is conscious resistance towards feedback. And you shouldn't be having that if ever you want to get better. Because the truth is this, whether you believe it or not, we all need feedback for us to be better. Right? We all need feedback for us to be better. See, they say the largest room in the world is the room for improvement. Right? You cannot have any form of improvement without feedback. Let me say that again. You cannot have any form of improvement without feedback. So feedback tells you areas where improvement should take place. So this week I happened to be in two different conferences, right? And for both conferences, I happened to fill feedback forms. The feedback forms was to let me help the organizers of the conference to say, oh, it can be better here, it can be better here, and all of that. Are you getting this? That's that's what happens when that's what happens when you are able to get feedback. There's room for improvement. You are seeing what areas where you can improve when you get feedback. Except you don't desire any form of improvement, that's when you can completely say no to feedback. But if you desire improvement, you desire growth, then you should be open to feedback and you should not have conscious resistance towards feedback. You shouldn't. Besides, one of the signs of maturity is your ability to take feedback and make the most of the feedback you've taken. That's one of the signs of maturity, that you're able to take feedback and then you make the most of the feedback. So you don't just sit back with the feedback and do nothing. See, feedback is useless if you don't do something with it. Are you getting it? Feedback is useless if you don't do something with it. So when you get feedback, you work with the feedback, right? When you get feedback, you do something with the feedback. Otherwise, the feedback is useless. The feedback is useless. So you do something with the feedback. You've been told, oh, this can be better, this can be better. So you go back and actually make it better. That's you working on the feedback. Are you getting this? Is this making sense for you? So this is why feedback is key, because feedback will help you to improve. And one of the things that will stand in your way of getting feedback is your conscious resistance. See, you must get to that point that you realize that when people give you feedback, it's because they want you to be better. It's because they see something amazing and something great in you. Right? It's because they believe in you. That's why they're giving you feedback. If not, they'll just let you be. They won't even bother you. They won't even bother you. But because they believe in you, because they know that you can be better, because they want to see the other side of you, and you don't even know exists yet, so they are giving you feedback because that's the only way they know that you can improve. Now, the third thing that people make it difficult for people to accept feedback is their ego and pride. Right? Your ego and your pride will always stand in the way of you taking feedback. Who is that one that's even giving me this feedback, Seth? What has that person done? I'm better than this person. Oh, that's just your ego and pride speaking. Ego and pride will stop you from receiving and making the most of feedback. It will stop you. Like I always tell people sometimes, swallow your pride. It's calorie free. Right? Your pride doesn't have any calorie. You can swallow it. Swallow it. Receive the feedback. You see, when Naaman in 2 Kings 5 was angry that Elisha didn't even come out to speak to him. He just told him to go and bathe in the Jordan. It was his servant who told Naaman and said, Master, if he had told you to do a more difficult thing, you would have done it. Now he told you to do something simple, just go and bathe in Jordan 7 times. And he did. So Naaman, even though he was the captain of the Syrian army, was able to take feedback from his servant. He didn't let his ego and pride stand in his way. Besides, there was even the slave girl in his house that told him that there was a prophet in Israel that can heal him. What will stop you from taking feedback sometimes and many times is your ego and pride. Who's that one that's talking to me? Does the person know what I've done? Does the person know what I've achieved? It's ego and pride that's speaking. And if you have ego and pride, it will be hard for you to receive feedback. You always believe that you know it all. Everything you're doing is the best. No, it's not. Feedback is all about improvement. It's all about pointing out areas where you can do better. That's what feedback is all about. And that's why you must be open to receiving feedback. It's for your good. It's for your good. So these are 3 simple things that that's what you need to pay attention to when it comes to feedback. Number 1, it will reveal your blind spot to tell you areas where you can never see, but it exists around you and with you. It's called your blind spot. If you study the Johari window, you see that segment that is called the blind spot. Right? I wish I could pull that up. Let me see if I can quickly pull that up for us so we can see what I'm talking about. Let me just Google that. Johari window. Let's see if I can get a good picture of it and pull it up. Okay. Okay, so I think I have. Let me save. Okay, so let me pull up a picture so I can explain this a bit more for us to understand. Just keep getting better every day. That's feedback, you see? Now, this is the Johari window, right? Now, the first part of the Johari window is the open area. Now, for the open area, it is known to others, it is known to you. Everybody can see that part. That's the open area. It's known to others, it's known to you. The open area. Everybody sees it. You can also see it, right? That's an open area. The blind spot is the area that is known to others, not known to self. This is where feedback comes in, at the blind spot. The part that nobody else knows, the part that you do not know but everybody else knows. Then there's the hidden area in the Johari window that is not known to others, but is known to yourself. That's the part that you hide. That's where secrets dwell. Not known to others, but known to yourself. That's why my friend Emmanuel have an episode that is called Take With to the Grave. Because there are a lot of things that people will take with to the grave. It's between them and God. No other person will ever find out. You'll take you to the grave. Why? Because that's a hidden area. And then there's the unknown area. That's not known to self, is not known to others. This is the area that is only God that knows. But this is the Johari window. But my main point in this Johari window for you is the blind spot that is not known to self, but known to others. Not known to self, but known to others. Did you get that? Did you get that analogy? Now let's get back, right? So these 3 areas are very key. Number 1, the blind spot. the part that you do not know, but every other person knows. That's why it's called a blind spot, because you can't see it. You don't know it, but it's seen and known by others. And then there's the conscious resistance. When someone tells you something that is feedback, you resist it. Consciously, you resist it. See, if you find it hard taking corrections, it's proof that you have conscious resistance to feedback. Someone tells you something that, oh, you should have done better or something, and you're angry. You have conscious resistance to feedback. And then there's the ego and pride. Your ego and your pride will just not let you. That's one of the reasons where Nabal died from. David sent his men to ask him for some of the harvest. And Nabal said, who is David? So people will leave their master and they'll be coming to ask us for things. And David said, okay, let's go show this guy. Let's go teach Nabal a lesson. And then Abigail was told by one of the servants that this is what was going to happen. And then she went to intercept David, apologized on behalf of Nabal, and went back home. A few days later, Nabal died a natural death. But what killed Nabal first is ego and pride. So you must get comfortable receiving feedback. You must get comfortable receiving feedback. Because see, if ever you want to grow, if ever you want to improve, if ever you want to become a better person for yourself, you can never do any of these without feedback. You can never. Because feedback is the breakfast of champions. Champions, they thrive on feedback. That's why I say sometimes you always hear people who are doing amazingly well. They keep asking you, how was it? What did you observe? What can we improve? Whenever I have meetings with people, I always get back to ask them for feedback. That's what we get to do AARO, after action reports. What are the things we did well? Using the KISS model. What are the things we need to keep? What are the things we need to improve? What are the things we need to stop? And what are the things we need to start? It's all part of getting feedback. Because feedback is the breakfast of champions. And if ever you want to be great, then you must get comfortable taking feedback. Right? But then there's also a way for you to give feedback. Because many times it's how people are giving feedback that really gets them upset or get them pissed or get them out of line because of the way the feedback is coming. So there's a prescribed way to give feedback. And that prescribed way is called the CRC model. Right? The CRC model of feedback. So if you want to give someone a feedback, you use the CRC model. Now, what's the CRC model? Commend, recommend, and commend. That's the CRC model. You first commend the person. Oh, you're doing an amazing job. I love what you're doing. I'm excited about this that you're doing. However, that is the recommend. It can be better if you do X, Y, Z to it. But in all, that's the commend again. You are doing an amazing job. So that way it becomes easy for the person to receive the feedback. But when you just come and say, what you're doing is not just making sense at all, you are not trying at all, you're just wasting time, the person would activate conscious resistance. I tell you, even you, what are you even doing, sir? How is what you're doing even better than what I'm doing? Conscious resistance. So you must use the CRC model when you want to give feedback to people. First, look at what they're doing. and look at what you can commend in what they are doing. After the commendation, then you can now give your recommendation. And after your recommendation, then you can now end it with a commendation again. So the CROC model, first you appreciate what they're doing, then you let them know where they can be better, and then you appreciate what they are doing overall. That's where they happily receive the feedback. I haven't said to people that you can tell people to go to hell and they'll look forward to the journey. It depends on how you tell them. That's the same that happens when you give feedback. How you give feedback is as important as the feedback itself. I'll say that again. How you give feedback is as important as the feedback itself. So what are we saying all? Very simple. Very simple. Commend, recommend, and commend again. That's how you give feedback. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Are you seeing why feedback is key right now? Because for any improvement to occur, there must be feedback. There must be feedback. And you must understand what feedback will do for you. Let me tell you some of the things that feedback will do for you so you can be willing to always take feedback. Number one is that feedback will improve your learning and your performance. Feedback will improve your learning and your performance. So when you get feedback, it improves how you are learning. It also improves your performance while you're learning. Look at the people who do sports. They get feedback from their coaches. So that improves their performance. Look at the people who are learning any skill. They get feedback from their teacher. That improves their performance. So feedback would help to improve your learning and your performance. Are you getting this? So this is why you need feedback. So you understand the areas where you can improve as you're learning. So you also see the areas where you can improve your performance. Let's say you're a public speaker and then you go for a Toastmaster competition or a Toastmaster event, and then you're asked to do a table topic. After doing your table topic, they get to give you feedback so you can see where you need to improve. So why feedback is important is that it gives you the opportunity to improve your learning and to improve your performance. So you cannot play down feedback. This is why feedback is key. You want to improve your learning, you want to improve your performance, you need feedback. Otherwise, you would not be able to improve these things. You will not be able to improve them. You need feedback. So you see, when I relate to people, I share what I do with them. I'm always asking for feedback. Oh, what did you learn from it? Oh, how was it? Oh, what can be improved? Oh, see, there's always the room for improvement. That's why I told you earlier, the largest room in the world is the room for improvement. Whatever you think is good now can be better. And whatever you think is better now can be best. Remember that old rhyme back in the day? Good, better, best. I will never rest until my good is better and my better best. That's because you are getting feedback. That's because you're getting feedback. Are you getting this? Right? So the first thing why feedback is key is because it improves your learning and performance. The second reason why feedback is key is that it encourages your self-awareness. So with feedback, you get to know a lot about yourself. Remember we told you about the Johari window, the part of you that you do not see, but everybody else see. So with feedback, you're becoming aware of that. And you're making the necessary adjustment because you are now aware. I remember a time I was told that, oh, I don't smile that much. And I was like, okay. And I got it from a lot of people. So I took that feedback and I started to smile intentionally. Why? I'm now becoming self-aware. So why feedback is key is that it encourages self-awareness. You're not aware of the things that have been brought to your notice. So the things that are in your blind spots, feedback makes those things aware, make you aware of those things. So although they're in your blind spot, feedback now gives you that self-awareness. So they told you about it. You are now self-aware of what you have had blind spots about. Are you getting this? This is why feedback is key. So number one, it improves your learning and improves your performance. Number two, it encourages self-awareness. Feedback encourages self-awareness. We all have blind spots, regardless of who you are. We all have blind spots, but feedback gives you self-awareness of your blind spots. Are you getting this? Feedback gives you self-awareness of your blind spots. This is why feedback is important, guys. This is why feedback is important. You cannot play down on feedback. You just cannot. You do yourself a great harm if you play down on feedback. So feedback is key. Number one, it improves your learning and performance. Number two, it encourages your self-awareness. Number three, it strengthens relationships. See, if we are friends and I don't give you feedback, then I'm not really your friend. In fact, Jesus asked his disciples, who do men say that I am? You think that Jesus didn't know who he was? Or you think that Jesus forgot who he was? No. Jesus was asking for feedback. He wanted to know the opinion that the disciples had of him. He was asking for feedback. So, feedback helps to strengthen relationships. So you can now tell people, oh, you can see that, oh, this is where we are in our relationship. This is where we are. Feedback helps to strengthen relationships. Right? So if you have friends that don't give you feedback, that's not a good friendship. Because it should be your friend that will be the first to spot your blind spot. It should be your friend that will be the first to see the areas where you need improvement. And they should be able to tell you the same way you should be able to see the areas where they need improvement and be able to tell them. Are you getting this? This is why this is important. It strengthens relationship. So if I say I'm your friend and I've never told you any area where I feel you can improve, I'm not really your friend. And if you say you are my friend and you never told me any area you have observed that I can improve, then you're not really my friend. Because feedback strengthens relationship. Just like scripture says, iron sharpeneth iron, and so every man the countenance of his friend. Are you getting this? Right? So iron sharpens iron. So every man sharpens the countenance of his friend. That's important in feedback because it strengthens relationship. So you know areas where your friend needs to improve, and you tell them. It strengthens relationship. It builds the bond, right? That's the third thing why feedback is key because it strengthens relationship. Our relationship gets strengthened through feedback. You tell me areas I need to improve. I tell you areas where you need to improve. Iron sharpens iron. We are both getting better. In fact, it's encouraged that from time to time, friends should have this honest conversation with each other and say, okay, what have you noticed about me that you feel I need to improve? Have those conversations. Have those conversations. It helps to strengthen relationships. So that's the third reason why feedback is key. It strengthens relationship. The fourth reason why feedback is key is that it helps to boost motivation and engagement. When you are getting feedback, your motivation is increased. Recently I started including recently my friend started including soundtrack to his podcast. And the way the soundtracks are embedded on the podcast, it just gives more life to the podcast. Right? And then he keeps getting feedback that, wow, this soundtrack just hit the nail on the head on this episode. Oh, this soundtrack just makes this episode come more alive. That's because he's getting feedback. So he's always now thinking of what new soundtrack can I use for a new episode. So it does not repeat soundtrack. Are you getting this? Because it helps to boost motivation and engagement. It helps to boost motivation. So getting that feedback of how well the soundtrack makes the podcast, it boosts the motivation for him to want to do more of that. Because that is giving him more engagement. I think how feedback is important. So when you're commenting on someone's post, when you're sharing the person's post, what are you doing? You're helping to boost the person's motivation to say, I see what you are doing. This is making sense. Do more of it. So don't be among those people who just read, benefit. You don't even like, you don't comment, you don't share. No, you are taking away your privilege, your feedback you can give that person. Because when you share, when you comment, when you like, those are feedbacks you're giving that is helping to boost the motivation and also improving engagement. So when other people see your comment, they also want to comment. And all of this is feedback. It's feedback. So you see why I am very deliberate to say that feedback is key. Don't assume people would know. Give them feedback. I'll say that again. Don't assume people would know. Give them feedback. That's how they will know. It's through your feedback they would know. Don't assume they would know. Give them feedback. Through your feedback, they will now know. Right? The fifth thing about feedback is that feedback helps to drive innovation and growth. Once people get feedback, they want to be more innovative, they want to grow. Feedback helps to drive innovation and growth. Right? Feedback helps to drive innovation and growth. See, the truth is this, we all want to do better, right? But sometimes we may not even know how we are going to do better if we don't get feedback. right? We may not even know how to do better if we don't get feedback. But when we get feedback, it helps to drive innovation. It helps to drive growth. That's true. Don't assume people would know. Give them feedback. I'm very big on feedback. Very big on feedback because I always give feedback too. I always give feedback. In fact, anyone who knows me personally knows I will always give feedback. Whether you hate me, it doesn't concern me. I will give you feedback. And I will give you with the CROC model. I will commend, I will recommend, I will commend. It's up to you to take the feedback or leave the feedback, but I will give the feedback. I get it. Giving it is what I do. Receiving it is up to you. I love that. Giving it is what you should do when it comes to giving feedback. Receiving it is up to them. So giving it is what I do. Receiving it is up to you. But feedback will help to drive innovation. People will get better through feedback. They know where they need to improve upon. Feedback will drive innovation. Feedback will drive growth. Right? Feedback will drive growth. See, it's a lot of maturity to be able to even receive feedback and work on the feedback. Because I told you earlier, for some people, when they get feedback, what they want to do is that they are against it. They're having conscious resistance. Their ego and pride is standing in the way. And they're not seeing their blind spot. I said, no, you don't need to do all of that. Swallow your pride, right? It's calorie free, so you can swallow it. Swallow your pride. It's calorie free. Receive the feedback because the feedback would help you with innovation and growth. To help you. Right? And then 35 things now that why feedback is key. Number one, I told you it improves your learning and your performance. Number two, I told you to encourage your self-awareness. You become more aware. Number three, I told you to strengthen relationships. From time to time, have feedback sessions with the people you're in relationship with. I'm not even talking boyfriend, girlfriend, people that are in your space, people that are your friends. From time to time, have feedback sessions with them. What areas do you think I can improve? What are the things that I do that pisses you off? What are the things that I do that are not acceptable? Feedback sessions. Feedback session. It takes a lot of maturity to even have those sessions. Because everybody likes to gloss over things. Everybody likes to pretend and wear a mask. But feedback helps you remove the mask so you can see your real self and make the necessary improvement that needs to be made. So I told you number four, feedback will boost motivation and engagement. Who are excited when you get feedback? See, I want you to understand this. There's no good feedback, there's no bad feedback, there's just feedback. You get that? There's no good feedback, there's no bad feedback, there's just feedback. It's just feedback. Right? And then I told you that feedback will drive innovation and growth. You see the areas where you need to improve. You see the areas where you need to grow. That's because of feedback. That's because of feedback. Especially where you are in a service business, where you're servicing people. You must be open to taking feedback. Are you getting this? You must be open to taking feedback because it will drive innovation. It will drive growth when you take in feedback. You know, like I told you earlier, I was at a conference this week and there's something I learned from the conference. So the moment I came back, I put to practice immediately one of the easiest things I could instantly practice. Why? Because I got feedback that would help improve and drive innovation and growth. The sixth thing why feedback is key, it helps in goal achievement. You want to achieve your goals, you need feedback. It helps in goal achievement. You need feedback. You need feedback. Don't assume things. I said this earlier. Don't assume. Just ask for feedback. Stop living in your head. Ask for feedback. Because the feedback you get will help you in achieving the goals you want to achieve. Because feedback helps in goal achievement. So as you get the feedback, you know the areas where you need to do better so you can achieve the goal. Feedback helps in goal achievement. And then the seventh thing, feedback creates a culture of continuous learning. A culture of continuous learning. So with feedback, you are always learning, unlearning, relearning. Feedback creates a culture of continuous learning. Now, these are 7 important reasons why feedback is key. 7. Number 1, I said it improves learning and performance. Number 2, I said it encourages self-awareness. Number 3, I said it strengthens relationships. Number 4, I said it boosts motivation and engagement. Number 5, I said it drives innovation and growth. Number 6, it helps in goal achievement. And number 7, it creates a culture of continuous learning. These are the 7 reasons why feedback is key. And like I told you earlier in the conversation, I said, don't assume people would know. Give them feedback. Then they would know. Are you getting this? Don't assume people would know. Give them feedback. Then they would know. And when they know, they can now improve. Because the essence of feedback is for improvement. Because the largest room in the world is the room for improvement. And you cannot improve without feedback. So guys, this is it. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. You're doing an amazing thing. You only need feedback so you can do much more. You need feedback. Right? And like I said, there are no good or bad feedback. They are just feedback. They're just feedback. And remember, swallow your pride. It's calorie free and receive feedback. If you're close to me, I'm always good at giving feedback. Like I say, giving it is what I do. Receiving it is up to you. Because you can give feedback and somebody will not do anything with the feedback. But that should not stop you from giving feedback. Perhaps one day you'll wake up to the realization. But you must continue to give feedback. And you must also be receiving feedback for yourself. Right? Just as iron sharpens iron, so every man would give his friend feedback. Right? So, this is it. This is our gist for today. Why feedback is key. So, let's take a few questions before we call it a wrap for today, and why we read a few comments before we call it a wrap for today. Somebody said, thank you for that. I wonder what that struck in you that said, Okay, so let's take a few questions and then we'll call this a wrap for today. Thank you so very much for joining us today. What an amazing time, and I've enjoyed this conversation, right? There's no good or bad feedback, just feedback. So true, so true. Right, and I love this. Don't assume people would know. Give them feedback and they would know. Don't assume. Give them feedback. They will know. right? How you give feedback is as important as the feedback itself. How you give it. That's why I told you to learn to commend, recommend, and commend, the CRC model of giving feedback. Because how you give it is as important as how they would receive it. Are you getting this? So how you give feedback is as important as how they would receive it. So learn to give feedback the right way. Right? People give you feedback to help you get better. That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. Right? And yeah, it's been an amazing conversation. So let's take a few questions before we call this a wrap for today. Hey, thank you so much. Nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So feedback is important, right? And like I said, you're not too old to take feedback. You're not too young to take feedback. Feedback has no age limit. Anyone that wants to be better should take feedback. Right? Humble yourself, take feedback, improve. Right? It's for your good. It's always for your good. Someone says, what do you do when your feedback is misunderstood, especially by people who can't accept any form of criticism? Right? You already see it there. They can't accept any form of criticism. Why? Because their ego and pride will not allow them. What do? Still use the CROC method. Commend, recommend, and commend again. Like I said, your role is to give it. Whether they accept it is now up to them, but give it. Right? So what do you do when your feedback is misunderstood, especially by people who can't accept any form of criticism? Like I told you earlier, it takes a lot of maturity to even take feedback in the first place. It takes a lot of maturity to even ask for feedback in the first place. Because trust me, you are dealing with young people, Gen Zs, they can say any and everything with no recourse to how you will feel. But if you are willing to even ask, you're ready to get anything that they give you. But sift through whatever they've shared and pick out what you know, okay, this could be a pain point for them, and improve on what you're doing. For people who have ego issues, self-esteem issues, and they never want to be criticized, still give them feedback, but use the CRC method, like I shared. You commend, you recommend, and you commend again. But it's up to them either to take it or to reject it. But you should give it. Whether they take it is up to them. You giving it is up to you. Right? So go ahead and still give them feedback. Go ahead and give them feedback. But use this method where you first commend, you recommend, and then you commend again. That way, that may begin to help them to begin to see, oh, you really have their best interest at heart. Because like the popular saying goes that people don't care how much you know, they only care how much you care. Right? They don't care how much you know. You only care about how much you care. So you show them you care by giving them feedback with the CROC method. Rather than just because see, another thing that happens is that some people see feedback as attack. Some people see feedback as you are attacking them. So that's why you need to give it serve it with love. Serve it with love on the platter of love, compassion, and empathy. That's how you should serve feedback. On the platter of love, compassion, and empathy. Perhaps that will help them. Right? More questions. Let's take one more question before we call this a wrap. One more question, guys, and then we'll call it a wrap for today. Right? I've had a very, very long day. Very long day. I can't even begin to imagine. But we're here, right? Because you guys are important to me. So we're here. Okay, so tell me the last question. I'll take only one more question, so I'll be out of your face. Right? And then you can go back and rewatch and go back and also share with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and even your enemies, right? I'm always specific about that, including your enemies. Share with them. It's part of you giving them feedback. Share this link with them, right? Share with your friends, share with your family, share with your loved ones, share with your enemies. It's part of your feedback. Okay, so final question. So let me take one more question and I'll be out of your face, right? Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. One more question and I will be out. Who will be that lucky person to ask the question? Right? And also, please do well to give me feedback on this episode, right? Give me feedback on this conversation. Did you enjoy it? Did you learn anything? Did something stand out for you? Also, give me your feedback. I love to also take your feedback, right? I can't teach on feedback and not be ready to accept feedback. So give me your feedback when you're done, right? Okay, did this make sense or it didn't make sense? Give me your feedback. I'm open to feedback. Like I said, there are no good feedback, there are no bad feedback, they're just feedback. And the earlier we understand this, the better for all of us, right? So I'm open to your feedback. So give me your feedback about this conversation and about other conversations we've had. Give me your feedback. I'm open to them, right? I'm open to them. So last question. I'm going to ask that last question and then we can call this a wrap for today. Who's going to ask that last question and then we'll call it a wrap? Just one more person. One more question. When is it landing? One more question, guys. One more. Just one. Just one more question. And then we call this a wrap for today. Who's asking the question? Who's the lucky person? All right. Who's the lucky person asking the last question for today? Who is that person? I'm waiting. The question is keeping me waiting, guys. Just that one question. Hey, just that one question. Hey, just that one question. Hey, just that. Okay, so who's asking the one question? Okay, so who's asking that one question, right? Who's online, who's live, that's asking that question, and then I will take the question and we'll be out of here. I know you're typing. So I'll wait, right? I'll give you a few more seconds. Be fast. Hurry up. I wish you could send voice notes on this. Okay, by the way, would you guys love it if we have guests on the show on the Friday? Get a guest to join us. Tell me about it. Would you want us to do that? And if you want us to do that, who are the kind of guests you want us to have? Right? Let me have that feedback and then we can work on that too. Like I always say, feedback are things that you need to work on. Feedback are things that you need to improve, right? So tell me the area you want us to improve on the conversation and tell me the guests you would like us to invite, and I will do that just for you because this is Upgrade Mastery just for you. So I'll do anything for you. Anything. Anything. I'll do anything for you for conversations. Anything. Tell me who you want us to invite, reach out to them and get them to be here. And that's part of the feedback. So whatever thing you want us to improve on these conversations every Friday, let us know because this conversation is for you. That's why it's called the Upgrade Mastery just for you. It's for you. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to improve. Tell us areas you feel we can deliver more value for you. And we'll do that just for you. Right? We're here because of you. Okay, so it looks like the last question is not coming in, which I completely understand. You're still trying to digest the whole conversation. Well, no wahala. Thank you so much. If when you watch the replay and the question pops up, please leave it as a comment and we'll get to respond to you in the comment section or probably take it up in another conversation, right? As a carryover question. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for staying true to the end. Oh, okay, the question finally came. Finally, just when we're about to go. And the question is about is giving feedback. In giving feedback, how does objectivity help? I love this question. In giving feedback, how does being objective help? Like I said in one of the videos I did recently, I said, peace if necessary, truth at all costs. When it comes to objectivity, it's about standing for what you know is the truth and not just to make people feel good. You know, you hear people always say this, oh, let's just leave it for peace to reign. Let's just leave it for peace to reign. For peace to reign does not mean you are objective because you are just trying to maintain the peace. No, there can be chaos and you are still standing for the truth. No wonder they sang, "As they got joy in chaos." Yes, you have the joy in the chaos because you are standing for the truth. Are you getting this? So, what's the place of objectivity in giving feedback? Stand for the truth. Don't try to massage people's ego because you want to give them feedback. Stand for the truth. You saw what Prophet Nathan did in 2 Samuel 12. He came and stood for the truth, letting David know that killing Uriah and marrying Bathsheba was wrong. Even though he was the king, it was wrong. He stood for the truth. He was objective. So while you recommend, and commend, you are standing for the truth because your feedback must be objective. It's not to massage their ego. It's not to make them feel good about themselves. Your feedback is not hyping. Your feedback is not praise singing. Chamo, no, that's not feedback. Your feedback is not hyping. It's objective and it's telling the truth. That's real feedback. That's the feedback that enables improvement. Are you getting this? So in giving feedback, objectivity is key, not subjectivity, objectivity. Guys, we've stretched today's conversation because it's feedback. So we stretched it, but this is the most we can stretch it, right? So we don't outstretch because we are trying to stretch, right? So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so very much. I appreciate this. I look forward to getting your questions in the comment section if you still have questions, and we'll tackle them there, right? Thank you again. Do well to share this with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and even your enemies because it's part of the way you help them to live good behind, to upgrade. Remember, there's always more on the upgrade side of life. And that's why we encourage you that you live good behind so that you can upgrade. What better way for you to upgrade than for you to give feedback and also receive feedback? Because the largest room in the world is the room for improvement, and nothing helps you with improvement like feedback. Until we come again your way next week, Friday, remember, you are the real VAP. You are the value adding personality. And because that's who you are, never be shy to give people feedback because that's what shows that you really want to see them get better for themselves. Once again, thank you so much for watching and God bless you.